All right, we're into our second session of day 2 of Bitcoin for Corporations. My name is Fong Li. I'm the president and CFO of MicroStrategy, and I have here with me Brett Tedgepal. Brett, you want to do a quick introduction?
Sure, thanks. Really excited to be with you again, Fong. So I'm Brett Tedgepal. I've been with Coinbase nearly a year. I look after sales, trading, custody, and prime, along with my partner, Greg Tusar, who runs institutional product for us. And I joined Coinbase after a 25-year career working at Barclays and JP Morgan. And at Barclays, I was serving as the global head of sales for fixed income and equities. And I was a part of the executive committee that looked after global sales and trading for all of our businesses. And so over that 25-year career, I largely focused on helping institutional investors get involved in new asset classes. And so crypto is really just an extension of that for me.
Awesome. Well, so you know this session is Bitcoin for Corporations, and it seems like you're the perfect person from Coinbase, but even prior to that, working with institutions and corporations. Why don't you just start with it? I think most of our audience here probably knows Coinbase, but why don't you start with just giving everyone a little bit of background about Coinbase, what you do, and specifically what you do for institutional corporations.
Thanks. So we're predominantly known for our retail app, but one of the things I hope to highlight in this session is that we have an amazing platform for institutional investors. And so Coinbase Institutional is an integrated solution that marries custody, our advanced trading platform, and prime services. So to give you some stats on sort of what that translates into, we have 43 million verified users. We've got over 90 billion of assets on the platform. We have 1,200 employees. We've got more than 40 assets that we trade, and you can custody assets with us that don't trade on our platform, and we have 90 assets there. And so to hit a few sort of distinctive traits about us, I would say our trading desk works on an agency basis. And so I think we've got the market leading platform, which you used time and again to achieve the best price. And one of the best things about that platform is that we've got pure agency. So what that means for the audience is we don't make prices. And so our interests are aligned with yours. We just get a flat commission. So that ensures the fact that every time you come to us to try and buy or sell, you're getting the best price from a big pool of liquidity.
Awesome. So 90 billion in assets, which is just really a staggering number. Tell us about how that distributes retail versus institutional versus corporate. I know you're in a quiet period. Anything you could share with us around sort of the growth rates that you're seeing, especially on the institutional side, would be great to hear.
Yeah, so actually, thanks for reminding me. I probably should have said it at the outset. Most of the people watching probably know that Coinbase has filed its S1, and as a consequence, we're in a quiet period. And so anything that's sort of beyond the stats that I shared at the top there that would lead to sort of forward-looking comments on sort of the price of Bitcoin or the growth of the platform, I'm not going to be able to address. But what I can address today, and what's going to be awesome, is to really go into the product platform and the suite of services that we offer. And so I would say one of the distinctive qualities of Coinbase is this sort of holistic nature. So we can be a one-stop shop. So we are the single point of entry, into the crypto marketplace. And so we've done quite a lot of work to make the prime a one-stop shop. So what that means is you can buy there. Once you buy, there's a white glove service associated with buying. You can move that into custody with us, and then for our active customers that buy and sell quite a lot of crypto, we actually provide financing as well. And so that's another distinctive strength of ours. So there's no time delay. And the more that we offer these suite of services, the more we've been rewarded by clients clustering their businesses with us. But that said, and actually in Michael's description yesterday of Coinbase, he described it as an open platform. And I think that is an important thing to note. While we do have bundled services, each of our offerings has to stand alone on its own. And so we'll have crypto first customers that will come in just to use execution or custody or our other services. And so the way we approach it is we'd love to give bundled services to corporates and hedge funds and pensions and endowments that want to, but at the same time, each one of those things has to stand on its own. And so any customer can sort of pick or choose on how they want to put together, how they want to engage with the Coinbase platform.
Great. So maybe let's dig a little deeper on the corporate side, right? Tell us, what does the customer base look like, right? Like, who are you talking to? Are these large corporations? Are these institutional investors? Are these family offices? Like, what have you seen change in the last year in terms of that customer base?
So I'd say that we've had, there have been certain types of institutional clients that have long been invested in the space. And when I think about those customer types, I'll call sort of pensions and endowments. I would say they're new entrants, you being the most famous of all of them, as a corporate that took the bold decision to buy Bitcoin in your treasury reserve. As a consequence, you've showed the path. I loved your presentation yesterday on sort of the playbook. Together we wrote the playbook really on how a corporation can get involved and should get involved in the space. And so there are definitely corporates which are interested in thinking, watching what you did and building upon it. Other entrants to the space would be hedge funds. I think they've had a greater presence through the course of this year, and soon to be more asset managers as well. So you probably will have seen a case study that I wrote on LinkedIn about One River, for example, as a good example of a new entrant to the space.
Right. So someone is a corporation. They're a potentially new customer, right? They're just thinking about getting into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin investments. Like, what do they do first, right? And they're looking at the landscape of potential partners to work with. What's their first step when they call you up? What does that customer journey look like?
Right. So, and we went through this together, so you'll remember it well, hopefully. But you should have an expectation of a corporate first of meeting someone like me or someone on the team. So you've got a person that's operated at scale and in a regulated environment. So you've got a single point of contact. You would expect to get onboarded in, let's say, 2 days is probably a good expectation. In order to get onboarded, you have to pass through KYC and AML, so you have to be in good standing, and we do a pretty robust diligence on that. It's an important part of who we are, in this space. I find that public corporations and large institutional clients want to be in good company, right? And they want to engage with blue chip names that are very serious about KYC and AML. In that introductory meeting, we would remind you that we are a qualified custodian regulated by the DFS. We were the first custodian to get its SOC 1 reports. We can talk more about what those are. It's probably a level of granular detail we don't need to get into. We would introduce you to the fact that we've got the largest crypto insurance policy that's out there, to the best of my knowledge, at least. And we would start by saying, hey, what are you trying to achieve and how can we help? And so often, Fong, in those, we're doing a lot of learning all at the same time. So there's a little bit of tell us more about perhaps Bitcoin or Ethereum and how it works. And we've got people that can jump on the phone and give you educational resources to go around that. And then it's how does it work? Right? So should I want to be involved? What happens? And so the big picture on that is you probably have 2 accounts with us. You can think of it as a prime account. That's the place where you buy and sell. And then you most probably have a custodial account as well. And so that would be the beginning of getting corporates activated. So the quickest that I've seen corporates activate is about 48 hours, where there are a few things to draw out on. While we've got the ability to onboard rapidly, one of the things that we're obsessed about is security. And you'll remember going through the process, with us, where we place a paramount importance on security, particularly when any fiduciary like yourself is acting on behalf of shareholders or somebody else. And so we'll go through sort of a coaching where we say, here's the account opening, your account's now open, but we'd really like to see you put these extra security measures in place. And so we've got recommendations in and around how to do that. We'll guide you towards doing a first test trade, but not until you've done the security, the hardening of your security. And you'll remember that we also have a white glove service for corporate officers, right? So beyond their ability to act for the corporate, we also have the ability to coach you through personal security as well. So once all the security measures we can see that they've been put in place, then we'll guide you towards a test transaction, which is probably the first time you might wire, fiat money, into Coinbase, and then do a test transaction just to kick the tires to see if everything works. And there we'll initiate a trade. You'll settle your first trade where you bought, let's say, 1 Bitcoin, and then we'll send that into custody. And so that's a great way to start. And it's a sort of, you can progress quickly, but it's important to me to make sure that everyone feels comfortable with the progression and the execution.
Awesome. 48 hours is actually really fast. So that's great. What is, other than security, what are the other big concerns or challenges that some of your customers, some of your corporate customers might face when trying to onboard to the platform and start trading?
Yeah, the onboarding is actually pretty slick and pretty quick. But when we go through the protocols of who can do what to whom, and so one of the things that corporates, and we're obsessed about, is making sure that only the right people are doing the right things. And so sometimes it takes a little extra time to think through, who at MSTR has the ability to, send and receive crypto, right? You undertake practices like white labeling, which is to say you lock down an account to say crypto and fiat can only travel between these two destinations and nowhere else, right? And so there's a little bit of thinking, I think, that the corporates have to go through to say, like, who in our hierarchy. It's not just going to be the CEO, CFO, and COO for obvious reasons. And so you talked a little bit about that in your corporate playbook yesterday. And so really, I would say that's not a challenge. That's just like an extra level of diligence that you have to go through. And then all the other things you outlined in your playbook are on thinking through public disclosure and other associated items that you addressed yesterday.
Okay, great. We have quite a few international attendees on the call and watching too. To just help them understand, where are you licensed to do business? What are the jurisdictions, and what does that landscape look like for Coinbase?
So domestically, we're a qualified custodian. We're a limited purpose New York trust company regulated by the DFS. I mentioned before we have SOC 1 Type 2 and SOC 2 Type 2 reports. So that means that we can deliver into our regulatory obligations. We operate in over 100 countries, so that's important. We are a fiduciary under New York banking law. So again, important. We're in compliance with the Bank Secrecy Act, the U.S. Patriot Act. We have money transmission laws. We're a money transmitter in the United States and in many other jurisdictions. And so you can think about at a high level, we've got a domestic offering and we have an international offering, high level. We have entities in different jurisdictions around the world, including Ireland, and we have a duplicate offering in both places. So really, aside from the different regulatory licenses that we hold, you can think of it as a duplicate offering. So one mirrors the other in terms of its security, its protocols, its robustness, its operational excellence. And so if you're an international client, then you have the ability to consume all of our goods and services internationally without ever having a nexus to the domestic United States.
Great. That's pretty robust and pretty broad overall. So Bitcoin for corporations, a lot of folks here either already invested in crypto or are seriously considering it. What advice would you give them?
I guess what I would say to choose your partners carefully for a start. I would, of course, offer ourselves as being a trusted partner. I would say, really, again, sort of echoing some of your comments, Fong, and echoing some of what you did, definitely do survey the landscape, right? And try and root out where you think there could be conflicts of interest or different things that you might want to avoid. For an example, the crypto marketplace is in many ways unique, but I think you want to take certain protocols and find certain partners to keep you safe. And so one of the things that we do are smart order routing platform is a liquidity aggregator. So it looks not just at Coinbase exchange, but 10 other venues. But what we've done is we've done diligence on each one of those venues to make sure that we think that those venues adhere to the same KYC and AML practices. So we don't just route to any exchange. So I think that's pretty important. The next thing I would say is to really see if you can get radical transparency around fees. So there's I took note of Jeremy's sort of comments yesterday about trying to sort of turn the screws on crypto and get good fee discounts, which of course you did. But I would say our pricing model is like very, very clear, very transparent. So agency is you buy or sell something, you just pay a flat commission fee, and that's it. And on custody, you just pay an amount of a fee paid in basis points per annum. And there's no other embedded fees, like there's no fees until you go to withdraw, for example. And so really understanding the fee architecture is important. And then I think you need to think through, does this partner operate at scale? Who else have they done trades for? Do they have a history of operational excellence? Do they, have they delivered? And so that an invitation from you to be in this event and talking through it after you chose us, exclusively to be your execution partner, I think says volumes. And so we continue to, when it's appropriate, disclose, others that we've worked with. But I think we're beginning to develop quite a track record of getting the best price and sort of the best service and the best overall result for large institutions that want to operate at scale.
Okay, great. Well, you sort of did it and summarized it, but well, you did it. Maybe you can just sort of really quickly summarize then. As someone is considering, let's call it an execution partner, what are the key differentiators that Coinbase has? The 3 or 4 things that you would pitch to somebody and say, look, this is what we do. Nobody does it better.
So that's exactly. So I'm going to take your pitch line and so Coinbase is the single entry point. It is the go-to partner for institutions for sure. So Coinbase Prime is a full service prime broker. So we do custody, trade execution, and lending all in one place. We also provide credit intermediation. And so I know that's something that not everyone may understand precisely what that means is, but we act on your behalf when you go into the marketplace. So what that means is we are the only institution that you have to do diligence on. So I'm going to get quite specific here. If you engage our trading operation and tell us to go buy Bitcoin on someone else's exchange because they've got the best price in that millisecond, we'll do that. To the extent that there was an unexpected interruption and there was some exchange went down, there was an outage, there was principal loss, Coinbase would insulate you from that, which is to say we'll take that risk. So you wouldn't lose principal risk. So once we return back inside the walled garden, successfully having bought, let's say, a Bitcoin, it's at that moment that we actually exchange fiat for Bitcoin, and then you send that to cold storage. And so in sort of banking terms, that's what an intermediation is. So Coinbase is the one place that you enter the marketplace, and we go out and get your best price. But while we're out there and while we're transacting, if something unfortunate were to occur, we insulate you from that risk. So that's really important. I think. Yeah.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, and so the other thing that we do is we in considering who you would choose as a partner, the strength of our financial condition and balance sheet is really important, right? And as a function of that, we can provide financing. And so for active traders that want to trade in a moment's notice, they want to either buy something or sell something, we have the ability to make that happen. And so that's super important. Again, I think it's a defining feature for us. I think our smart order aggregation, our liquidity aggregation is fantastic. Hopefully, maybe I can get you to comment on that. But we do have the ability, to find the best possible price of any cryptocurrency, in that millisecond and transact with it. And so that's important. We give you anonymity. So large corporations don't want to be detected that they're in the marketplace, right? And even if you want to engage with block liquidity through my OTC desk, you can do that as well, but it remains anonymous, right? and you know that having gone in and bought a load of Bitcoin and not had that leak to the marketplace. And so no one knew that we were in the marketplace. So we have the ability to disguise large orders by chopping them up into really, really small pieces. And so you can, when you're buying in increments of 50, 100, 200 million, we might do actually millions of trades that are out there. And that's the way in which we disguise your presence in the marketplace. So I think that's definitely one of our differentiating features. Another one is just I said it once, but I'll say it again. It's our agency-only approach. And so we don't have a conflict of interest of trying to route to an in-house, market maker, for example, or give preference to one location over another. So our only goal is to get you the best possible price at all time. So no conflicts is really important. The fact that we operate at such large scale in custody, I think, is important. So I think corporations want to know that if they're going to buy a significant amount of cryptocurrency, digital assets, that they're keeping it in a safe place. And I think the 90 billion plus, I think, speaks to that. The other thing I think I'd like to draw out is, and this is part of the Coinbase institutional brand getting more recognition, is that we're a business-to-business crypto infrastructure provider, right? So we have introducing brokers in the platform. So think like challenger banks, think payments platforms. And so if you're a corporation that wants to activate maybe for different use cases other than treasury, for example, if you wanted to give your end clients the ability to buy, sell, store crypto, you can actually come to Coinbase. And so we offer that crypto infrastructure provider, and we're publicly disclosed that we act on behalf of firms like SoFi and Revolut, and there's a long list thereafter. And so two other things I'd call out is the white label service, is the white glove service. So you've got someone like myself to talk to 24/7. So our OTC desk runs around the clock. But having, particularly if you're unfamiliar with the space, I mean, I don't know how many hours we spoke when you were sort of ramping up between you, your team, your extended team, the legal team, the treasury team. There's quite a lot of dialogue in there. And then I think I'd end on two things, which is security and insurance. So security is literally, we would describe ourselves first as a security company, and then all other things next. And so we have arguably the largest full-time staff of cryptographic and security engineers. And then insurance. Again, I mentioned it once again, but Coinbase is your first line of Coinbase. Our security protocols is your first line of defense. But should that fail, you've got insurance, the largest insurance policy as a backup.
Well, that's a lot of differentiators, Brett. I can attest to using Coinbase as our primary trading partner. That the white glove experience is really there. You made yourself available and your team available, and the onboarding experience, because of the white glove experience, was very good, and so that was great. We just have a few minutes left. So you made a big transition. You really went from call it sort of the banking world to the Bitcoin world or the crypto world. How's it been for you personally?
It's been I gave a presentation last night at Coinbase, and I opened up by saying that I've been here 10 months, and it's been the most exhilarating and fun and enjoyable 10 months of my professional career. It's so super cool and awesome. I really feel like we're changing the world, and I'm so glad to be here. So I think things operate at scale, at pace, which is fantastic. Another sort of unexpected benefit was I thought there might be a longer transition between sort of leaving my old world and all the institutional clients that I was spent 25 years developing relationships with. But now in this world, it's really great to see that so many of them are present and are continuing to sort of activate in the space. And so that's been awesome.
Great. Well, Brett, thank you for your time. Thank you for Coinbase's partnership, and best of luck, especially with the upcoming IPO.
Thanks, Vaughn. It's amazing to be here. I think what you're doing with this event, what Michael's done, yesterday with his promotion of Bitcoin, I think it's awesome and unselfish and amazing of you to publish the corporate playbook. I think it's great for the industry, great for everyone involved, and really super excited to be part of this event.
Well, thank you. We're super excited too. And thank you for all the audience. And thanks, Brett. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Bye.